Guys, got a 2010 4Runner here that's got a botched repair here at the windshield area. This area in the A-pillar was damaged years ago, and windshield was replaced, and this was repaired, if you want to call it that. And now it's starting to rust, and I think the customer said water's coming in, so I've got a glass guy coming to get the windshield out, and I'll be repairing this area and having to blend back this way. Whoever did it before stopped it and put a hard line in it right here. So I'm gonna have to sand this back, and I may end up having to prime out to at least here, carry the color out here, and then I've got this much room to blend the clear in. Should be enough. Right now I'm working on some speakers. He's got a speaker issue as well, so I'm just testing those out, trying to figure that problem out for him while it's here. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this mirror off so it's out of my way when I go to paint the car. I want that mirror out of the way. Even though I could work on it like that, it'll give me a little bit more room, and it'll be out of the way. This wire runs all the way down to the door. If it unplugged here, I wouldn't have to pull the panel off, but what I'm going to do is actually take this speaker out that I know works and put it in the back door, which is dead. I'm not seeing any signal back there. And I've also tried another speaker that I keep for this purpose, and I'm not getting any sounds out of it, but I want to double check with another speaker in case that thing's gone bad on me or something. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this off, use this speaker, and that way I can get the mirror off too. All right, I've got into this flange, glass is out. I've scraped everything out that I can just to get the chunks off. I'm not sure why this would have been stripped down to metal in here for this repair, but I'm just gonna have to just sandblast what's left to get it all out. All right, I just got it outside and blasted all this out. Got a bunch of holes that are left. Mostly, there's one up there, small one. I'll just weld that up. But right in here, I've got several. So what I'm going to do, I don't really want to cut a section out of this thing, so I'm just going to go in here and just tack these up and just kind of bridge those things together. So this will just be a solid weld through here, and then I've got a couple more down this way. We'll go ahead and weld it now while it's just all nice and clean. And then I'll work on the outside. I've got what's left of the dent right here that wasn't even pulled out. You can see how low that is. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this welded so I can get the battery reconnected and be able to move this thing around. Then I'll start on this outside body work. It's really mostly just that and a little bit of a wave in here. I went ahead and stripped all the paint off just so I could find what all filler was put in it and get back down to bare metal and start over. A lot of this is just stripped, and this is a 50 grit disc, I think it was. But I'll go ahead and DA this back out where it's smooth so I don't leave these grinder marks in it, but I had to take it off pretty quick to see what was under there. I'm gonna start getting this welded up. All right, I've got it welded up. Just gonna go through, grind it all down, and get some filler in here. Then I'll start working the outside. I'm gonna go ahead and grind this so in case I've got a little tiny pinhole left, I can weld it up while the welder's still out. Then I'll put all of it up and start working on the outside. All right, everything's ground down in here, all the welds. I'm just gonna pull right here and try to get this area to come up. I'll be pulling this out and go down one by one on these studs. And I'll probably have to hammer this ridge right here out of it. You can see there's a kind of a high spot. But I need to get that back up to where I can fill it. The rest of it I think I can just skim with filler, but I got to pull this up some. And once I'm done with the paint job, I'll go in through here in some of these holes, and I'll spray cavity wax all through here, through this pillar with the wand. But I got to get it painted first. Okay, ready for filler. Got this lifted up as much as I could get it. Inside's ready. I've got the flange taped off. You don't ever want to put body filler on a glass flange. I'm just keeping that clean and masking it off for filler. Once I get done with all the filler work, I'll mask this off for primer, and I'll peel this off and kind of re-scuff it, maybe with the grinder or something, just to get it nice and rough. And I'll epoxy prime this whole area, all inside here, and the flange. And then once I go to put the actual primer on, the high build, I've got to tape this off. This can only be left in epoxy for the urethane. So I'll give it at least an hour where I can tape onto it. And I'll just lay some tape over the glass flange here, just like this. when I get ready to put the high build on the outside, and also this side here. But I got to keep that just in epoxy, and that'll get scuffed right before the windshield's put on. When you get some filler mixed up, you go ahead and wipe the outside and the inside just to get all this metal coated so I can let it sit tonight. I've got to stop here in a few minutes. All right, ready for epoxy. I've cut back the window urethane just at a step right here so that I get primer all the way up to the edge of the original urethane, so when the glass tech comes and cuts it all down, I'll have epoxy. It'll be continuous all the way to where the bead will start, where he's going to close cut it. Same thing down here. I just cut a hard step in the urethane. I'm just going to epoxy straight up to it. I actually need to add a little bit of seam sealer right here, but I might just get him to fill that with urethane when he comes to do the glass. I'll just have to decide when I get the paint done. If I got any of that seam sealer left, I'll put some in there, or just get him to fill it with urethane. That might be the better way to do it. Just fill it up with the urethane since it's got to go there anyway. When you get this epoxy on, let it sit for about an hour or two, then I'll come back with the high build. Just over, well, the whole area is going to get at least 2 coats of high build, but I'll put a 3rd coat right in here. All right, I'm going to start over here on this little catwalk I've got, and then do the top and come back and move it out of the way and finish the bottom. I'm actually going to give this 2 coats just because it was so bad. I want to make sure that I get it completely sealed up, at least on the bare metal here. So I'm going to give that about 20 minutes to give it one more shot. All right, masked off and ready to paint. I've got to run over one spot of bare metal up here on the outside with a scuff pad. It's been there a couple days like that, so I'm going to go ahead and just scuff over it. I dropped the door seals. I've got this tape rolled back here, give me a soft edge, but I'm not going to go that far back. That's just so that I don't have any kind of a line in it when I mist it out. Make it easier to buff. I'm going to try to stop somewhere in here, but it's going to be kind of tight. So the door seals are off the door. They're just dropped down, and you see it's taped to the inside of the window there, and the bottom one's taped actually inside the door. But I had to go in and take off the finish that was there. It was puddled up. The last painter that repaired this puddled up the clear on the seal, and it was nice and thick, so I had to go in here and sand all of it off, and I had to go further in than I normally would have. So I've got foam tape in there, and I had to drop the door seals to be able to get all the way in. And that door is actually not sealed to the foam tape, but I've got the top edge of the door down in there and the body all the way down to the actual water seal taped off, so it can go down inside here, but it's not going to get on anything. That foam tape's just there to give me the soft edge that I need inside the jamb. So the plan's going to be to coat this area back here with 222S to give me a wet bed, and I'm going to have to seal this because it's so dark. I don't have any white primer, or I would have primed it in white. So I'm going to spray the sealer this direction to keep it off this area. I'm going to spray the sealer this way, and as I get over here I'll just get back to a normal angle and coat this with sealer in here, or out there and in here. So all this primer will get a coat of sealer. Then I'll come back with the base coat and extend it just past the sealer till I get coverage with it. And then I'll have to put pearl over it, and I'll extend the pearl out a couple inches. And that'll give me this area back here about 6 to 8 inches to be able to clear without getting into this tape edge. So with pearl, you need a little bit more room than you normally would for a blend. So I'm gonna have sealer coming out, white base, pearl, then clear. So I had to have as much room as I could get, and I didn't want to go into extending it all the way back here, and then I'd have to come down in the C-pillar. And this has already been blended up in here once already. There's actually a clear edge right in here, so I'm trying to stay away from that. I'm gonna get you set up now. I'm gonna go ahead and get the 222S on it, and I can immediately come back with the sealer. I might even mix the sealer up first. That way it's ready to go, and I can spray it right into that wet bed of 222S right after I get it on. All right, that 222S goes actually all the way back to the tape. It's got to go beyond where I'm going to blend. So we got the sealer already mixed. And dump that in the gun, get it on now. All right, that's probably gonna get about 30 minutes. It's a little cold for the temp range hardener I've got, so I'll be back with base in just a few minutes. This is the first coat of base. All right, it's gonna get at least one more coat, and I'll have to maybe thin it to blend it out in the back a little bit. but I don't have a whole lot of room left. This is the first coat of clear. I've got the base and the pearl and all on it now. It looks good. I've got a color card that I matched it to from using the same color mix about a year and a half ago. So I'm gonna go ahead and just clear it now. Wait about 5 or 6 minutes between coats, and then I'll go to thin my clear, and I'll go back to the back there, and I'll just spray some really thin clear out over that final edge back there. And then tomorrow I can kind of wet sand that back with 2000 and 3000, and I can just polish it out and it should disappear. Okay, that first coat of clear didn't go all the way back to where I want to stop it. The second coat will go all the way back, just right to where that one is, and then I'll just thin it out and go a little bit further past that. All right, windshield's just been put in. Looks nice and clean in here now. Color matched really well. I just got done buffing the nibs out of the rail. Good texture match to the original. Just need to wash it and it's ready to go. See you later.